All right, guys, time to start editing our photos in Lightroom. We've got our assignment narrowed down to the 5 photos we want to turn in. Let's talk about how to do some basic editing. I'm just going to go to the very first photo and click on it to load it up in the photo viewer / editor. And let's talk about some of these here on the right-hand side. We're really only going to use this first one today. Eventually, we'll get into all of these. But for now, let's just click on this very first one right over here on the top right-hand corner. And the very first thing you do is you just press the auto button. Lightroom's getting pretty good at figuring out the best settings to make your photos look good. And sometimes it does a good job and sometimes it doesn't. But I'm just going to hit auto and let Lightroom do my edit for me, a lot of it. And you see it's giving me a little tip. Hey, before and after, tap and hold to compare edits. So I'm going to click out of this. If you just press and hold on your mouse, here's before and here's after. So it's already looking quite a bit better. Press and hold on the mouse for before, let go for after. Next, we want to come down to the profile, and the default profile is just color, but you can click on Browse here, and there are lots of different profiles you can choose from here. We're going to just skip past basic, and we'll go into some of these more. These are kind of the more Instagram-y style of filters, but some of them can be kind of cool. So you can always just click in here and just start scrolling through there, and you might really like Artistic 2. And you might be like, I like that, but it's a little too much. Well, you can come down to this slider right here, and you can lower down or increase the intensity of Artistic 2. That one's not my favorite, so I'm not going to choose it, but maybe Artistic 5 is. Or you're welcome to go through into black and whites and modern and vintage, all kinds of different profiles you can choose from. You don't have to choose a profile. It's just kind of an easy way to get started, and you are welcome to do so. I'm not going to choose one because, I don't know, I'm just not going to. Okay, so next we're going to go down to light, and this is where we're going to adjust basic things like exposure, contrast. You can see some of these are already moved. This is what happened when we pressed the auto button. So the nice thing is when you press auto, if it made it like a little too dark, maybe like that, you can just come here and quickly grab the exposure slider and brighten that thing up a little bit. And you can see I like mine a little bit brighter. Contrast is going to make things obviously more contrasty as you drag it to the right, so you can see that, or less contrasty if you drag it to the left. You decide what you like. Less contrasty seems to be a little bit more trendy. However, I grew up when contrasty was more trendy, and I'm having a hard time getting rid of that. So I like to add a little bit of contrast, but you do what feels right to you. Highlights is going to adjust the parts of your photo that are bright, but not super bright. So you can see as I move this, you'll notice that things that are really dark aren't really changing, and the things that are super bright aren't changing. Just the things that are kind of bright, but not super bright. Shadows is the same thing, only opposite. So things that are dark, but not super dark will change as I adjust the shadows. So what I like to do is just kind of wiggle these back and forth until I see somewhere that I like. I don't worry too much about what it's actually doing. I just go back and forth until I find a setting that I like. Same with whites. Whites is going to adjust the parts of your photo that are really bright, but not anything else. And blacks is going to adjust the part of your photos that's really dark, but not anything else. And again, don't worry so much about what these things do. Instead, just kind of move it all the way to the right, then all the way to the left, and then a little bit in between, and try and find a setting that works for you, that you like. Okay, and that's it for the light tab. And the last one we're going to do is the color tab. So we're going to expand this one out. And I'm not going to worry about these two for now, but I am going to look at this one right here that says vibrance and maybe a little bit of saturation. Vibrance goes in and it looks for colors that would benefit from a little color boost, and it boosts them. So vibrance is always a little bit of a gamble because you're letting Lightroom decide which colors to increase the saturation on. But I like vibrance. I think it looks really good, and I like it better than saturation. I love the saturation adjustment in Photoshop, but for some reason, I've never liked it in Lightroom. It's just, I don't know, it's too easy to overdo it. Don't do that, okay? Because that looks pretty terrible. I don't care what anybody says. All right, so we are done with this first photo. We are only going to do auto, profile, light, and color, and that's it. We will get into these other ones in later videos. Now I just need to go through and do that for all of my photos. So I'm just going to press the right arrow key to switch to my next photo, and I'm going to start all over again. I'll start with auto. Then I'll do a profile, then I'll do light, then I'll do color, and then I'll just press the right arrow key and I'll go on to the next photo. And I will just keep doing that until I am done with all 5 of my photos.